Now that all the tech has been figured out. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. You need to sound like 150 people because that's what's going to show up by dinner time. So I need you all to be louder. Shabbat Shalom. That is great. In Judaism, we have three major festivals. Who can name the three major festivals for me? Thank you very much. Sukkot. Name another one. What? Hanukkah is a minor festival. Huh? Pesach is number 2. What is number 3? Shavuot. Who said Shavuot? Thank you very much. With three major festivals. Sukkot tonight, Passover in a couple of months, and then 49 days after that, really 50 days after that, Shavuot. And in each one we come together to celebrate. In the good old days when we all hung out in the land of Canaan, we would gather in Jerusalem. Maybe the whole family wouldn't come, but a lot of people would show up. And you would bring sacrifices, and then you would hang out for the full length of that festival, and you would celebrate as the harvests were over, and as, well, people were beginning to relax just for a short time before having to go back to work in the fields or with their cattle. So what we learn about this holiday, it occurs on the 15th of Tishrei. If you go outside tonight, you'll see that we have, is it a full moon? We have a full moon, not a partial moon, a full moon. I believe it's a full moon. And the full moon signifies the start of a holiday. This holiday follows Yom Kippur. And what do we do on Yom Kippur? A lot of chest thumping. On Yom Kippur, we focus a lot on reflection on what we've done wrong. So Sukkot is a welcome change because Sukkot is about joy and about happiness. It's about hanging out after you've done a lot of work. Our ancestors, they did the work of the fields. We did the work of prayer. So we come together for 7 days of Sukkot and we celebrate. Some of us might put up a sukkah. Some of us might have special dinners. Some of us might be here tonight ready to celebrate for the first time. We read in Leviticus, you shall dwell in booths 7 days. How many days? 7. Thank you very much. And those booths are called what? Well, you're correct. Sukkot, the plural of sukkah, and we have one in our parking lot. And we do this so that your generations may know that I, God, made the people of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am Adonai, your God. So with this joy in our hearts, we're going to turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem, and we're going to invite some guests into our sanctuary. That these guests are 2 angels who come to bless us every Shabbat. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Clap our hands, right? Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. La la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la la
ya la 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 la
ya la 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 ya la 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 Barchuni leshalom Malachi Hashalom Malachi Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך, מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. לי, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה לה לה.
There is a tradition on Sukkot, and this tradition is called Ushpizin. And the Ushpizin are the special visitors that come into your sukkah. And we're taught that traditionally these guests are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, David, and of course Sarah and Rebecca, Rachel and Leah, Miriam, Hannah, and Deborah. These are really 14 of our matriarchs and patriarchs, 14 of our prophets, and they are supposed to come and, well, have their presence felt as we sit in our sukkahs, just like our ancestors did. But there are also others we can invite in. So when you step into our sukkah tonight, take a moment and think about who you would like to see. Someone who has not been part of your life because maybe they've passed. Maybe someone who's an historical figure. Maybe someone you've never met who you know you will never meet. Well, think about their presence and invite them in, because that is what we are supposed to do when we invite in the Ushpizin, the special guests. And this might seem strange, but what do we do every Shabbat? We just invited in two angels who we can't physically see, but we feel their presence. And in a moment, we're going to sing Lecha Dodi, where we invite in a Sabbath bride. And have we ever seen a real bride walk through that door? No, but we still feel her presence. And the idea is if we try hard enough, if we focus enough, if we open up our hearts and souls, we should be able to feel the presence of others, whether they are physically on this planet or not. So let's sing Lecha Dodi. Let's invite in that Sabbath bride, but as we do, let's think about others who we'd like to have join us on this Sukkot. We're on page 138. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Here we go.
לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת וליתי. לה לה לה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת נחו ונלכה, כי מקור ברכה, מרש מקדם יסוך, סוף מעשה במחשבתי. לה 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 לה. לך דוד. Let's hear you. Ready? פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי ויורך מאורי, אורי שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לה 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 לה.
לקראת כלה,
פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת nekavela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha v'tola, tach emunei ham segula, boi chala. 1, 2, 3, lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekavela, lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat. As loud as you can, ready? Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekavela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekavela.
You may be seated unless you've gone to Israel mission with me ever. I'd like you to come forward to light our Shabbat candles because we have an Israel mission information meeting for 2023 coming up. So I thought I'd use you as individuals who could be talked to later about how great that experience was. Thank you very much. And we're going to have you guys go in front of the candles. And yes, there is an informational meeting on Monday night at 7 p.m.
She was there.
Yes. And who's going to get close to the candles and light them now? Someone's got to light the candles, Jeff. We're not sexist. Come on over this way, guys.
No, that's okay.
Please, no, Abby, please. As we light these candles, the Sabbath bride officially enters our hearts and our homes. Here we go.
Lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav Vetzivanu lehadlik ner Vetzivanu lehadlik ner Vetzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Yasher Koach, thank you for coming forward, for lighting the candles tonight. We have taken approximately 30 people to each one of our missions. We've done 3 of them over the last, I think, 7 or 8 years. If you're interested in getting more information about our Israel mission for summer of 2023, there is an information session on Zoom on Monday night. So now we turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. Samantha, you didn't come forward and you were in Israel with us. I just want to point that out. Samantha went on our last mission. We are on page 146. Let's all rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. We face the ark. Here we go.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. לעולם ועד. המבורך, המבורך, לעולם ועד.
Let's take one hand and cover our eyes. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in. Exhale, releasing the stress from this week. On this inhale, relax fully to honor Shabbat. We inhale. We exhale. And now the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue with the Vahafta, found on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
When I talk about the Mir Chamok, I so often speak about that journey across the Sea of Reeds and how we stood on the edge of a desert knowing that we were finally free. But there were many questions that had to be asked, like where are we going to live for the next 40 years? And we got our answer through this holiday. And we have the sukkah, that temporary structure. And if you look closely at our Torah, you'll see that most of our ancestors lived in temporary shelters, not shoulders, temporary shelters or under the stars without any shelter at all. Our ancestors didn't live in homes, they didn't live in apartment buildings, they didn't even live in mobile homes. The shelter that we live in or we just eat a meal in over the course of the 7 days of Sukkot was their permanent home for 40 years, at least for the Israelites traveling the desert. And it was also a home for every one of our ancestors. And once when I was in rabbinic school, I did the exercise of writing a piyut, a spiritual Jewish poem, where I pulled biblical verses from each one of our seven special guests, our 7 ushpizin, who were male. And I found quotes that I could use where each one of them lived outdoors or in a sukkah. And so we have to think about how we are connected really to these ancestors who did not have luxuries, who understood what it was like living outdoors really their entire lives. These ancestors who really had to struggle, whether it was growing food or herding cattle. But that is part of our early heritage. And it's easy to forget that's where we came from. We didn't come from a palace. We didn't come from a king. We came from shepherds and farmers who lived in things like our sukkah. So let's remember that as we sing Mi Chamocha. Let's remember about the struggles they had once they crossed that sea of reeds. They were joyful, but they had a lot of things they still had to figure out, like shelter, like food, like protection. So we're on page 158 for the Mi Chamocha.
Lai 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 la 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 la, ya lai 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 la 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 la, ya lai 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 ya lai ya la la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Malchutecha uvanecha, vokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze Elianu ve'yameru, ze Elianu ve'yameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
Now I believe we have a number in honor of Sukkot, and so I'm going to turn it over to the cantor who might want to give an introduction or dive right into it.
Let's just dive right into it. Ufros aleinu sukat shalom, sukat chofesh lehov ve'ilmod, sukat nefesh le'ashiv ve'lashir, sukat lecharped et העבר והעתיד, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלום. סוכת שלום, סוכת שלום. Spread over us a shelter of peace, a shelter of freedom to love and to learn, a shelter of spirit to listen and to sing, a shelter to honor where we've been, where we will be. Ufros aleinu sukat shalom, ufros aleinu sukat shalom.
Yasher koach. We turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach prayer. We say the Misha Barak for those who are ill of mind, body, spirit. Tonight on our Misha Barak list, Lynn Newman, Sylvia Nemiroff, Louise Adhami, Gloria Katzman, Sherry Wells, Lisa Bruner, Sarah Knopf, Wayne Shaw, Jack Simon, Ron Jacobs, Sharon Schenker, Paul Hiddleman, Mark Jeff Stickler, Leanne Rosenberg, Karen Ibadi, Renee Ross, Mark Groner, Barbara Johnson, Robert Siegel, Larry Marcus, Elijah Mazhedi, Eliana Mazhedi, Malcolm Estroff, Emily Zastro, Jan Chayo, Jeff Borwitz, Florence Mata, Martin Finling, Bonnie Halpern, Karen Welt, Lisa Sage, Ronnie Rothstein, and Debbie Schwartz. We also think of those suffering in the Ukraine. We think of those injured due to border challenges. We think of those healing from all too frequent gun violence, those affected by terrorist attacks, and those affected by environmental changes. And of course, we also include in our prayers all those caring for the ill. If you have an additional name for our healing, our Misha Barak list, share it with me now. Misha Baruch Avatenu V'Imatenu. May the God of our ancestors grant a refuah shleima, a complete and full healing to all those named this evening, and to all those we hold in our hearts. And together we say the singing of Misha Baruch.
Misha Baruch Avotenu Mikor Habracha Meimortenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bishe Berach Imotenu Mikor Habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
On the sukkah, we have other symbols of this holiday. And I'm sure many of you know what this is. It's a etrog. And we have the pitom at the top, which if it falls off, it becomes unkosher. But if it grows on the vine and falls off naturally, it can be kosher without a pitom. And that's usually what I buy for our religious schools, because the second you tell a 5-year-old, don't touch that, what happens? Whack, it's gone. So before we do the Amidah, I wanted to point something out to you all. That by tradition, the etrog represents our hearts. And we see that we have the willow, which represents our eyes, And then we have, well, I'm forgetting what this is. The myrtle, thank you. I was going blank on the word. The myrtle, which represents our eyes, and the palm, which represents our spine. And the idea is that when we do wave a lulav and an etrog, let me put them in the right hands. When we do wave them, we are talking and moving with our whole bodies. We're not just saying, we're saying a blessing over. We're actually projecting ourselves onto. And often during this time of year, we're projecting ourselves onto something which is pretty much a Jewish, what I like to call a Jewish rain dance. Because what is going to happen in Israel the second Sukkot is over? We hope it's going to rain. What do we want to have happen in California? Rain. Today I was going through some books to pick a story after Sukkot to read to our youngest children tomorrow morning. And it was interesting because the one book I looked at was so old. And a little girl who's worried that everything was going to get rained on in her local community. And so she said to the rabbi, let's not pray for rain. And the rabbi said, no, we're only praying for Israel to get rain. And I thought how outdated this book is, because we all need good, gentle rain. And the idea is when we do wave this, we're saying, God, give us some good rain over here and over here and over here and over here. And if you listen carefully, and I'm going to be telling a story about this in a minute, but if you listen carefully, it sounds like gentle rain, correct? And the idea is with our whole bodies, we're saying, please, rain. Oh, no, we need good rain, gentle rain. So we don't need a hurricane or a typhoon. We need just the right amount. One other fun Sukkot fact. Of all the citrons in the world, it's the only one that doesn't rot. Every other citron, if you left it out on a counter, not on a canter, but on a counter, yeah, a little sleepy tonight. Okay. It would turn to mush. Not so with the etrog. It's the only one that dries hard. And I have a collection of these that's up to 12 years old. So I started collecting them 12 years ago. So I'm going to have these up here after the service and probably in the sukkah. We also have Wayne Schulman who'll be in the sukkah helping people wave and shake the lulav and the etrog. But I wanted to give you some history before you go out there. And I'll put a couple of these out. And if they aren't too old, you can actually rub two of them together. And it's like potpourri? I can never say this word. Potpourri. Thank you very much. You can tell I bought a lot of it over the course of my life. And yes. So I do want you to think about how this symbolizes our bodies. And when you pray the Amidah tonight, think about what it means to pray with your body and to project your body. Yes, sir. You have a question?
It's supposed to rain at 12.
When? 12 tonight? Well, we'll be safe. I'll be home in bed by 9:30. Probably before your bedtime, that's my guess. My bedtime's really early. All right, I'd like everyone to rise for the Amidah. We're also on a special page tonight. We are on page 468. I'm going to point out that we did not change our wording in the Amidah. We're still praying for dew. After next Monday night, we change what we say and we ask God for gentle rains. But that does not occur until next Friday night. We currently continue to say Marid Hatal. We don't say Mashiv Haruach and Marid Hagashem yet. We are on page 468. After the cantor finishes singing, we will have some silent prayer. You'll notice in this special section of the Amidah, it'll say things like for Sukkot. If it says for Sukkot, do you read it? Yes. Come on. Yes, you do. All right. Do you read the ones that say for Pesach? No. But the ones for Sukkot, you do read. All right. We are on page 468. Here we go.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue on page 478 silently, 478 through 493. Adesha.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. Adonai, tzuri v'goli. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you, שלום במרומיו. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו Amen.
It had been a hot, long, dry summer in Jerusalem, just like it's been a long, hot, dry summer here in Woodland Hills and Tarzana and Encino. But we're talking about Jerusalem many, really centuries ago. And the people didn't know what to do because they lived off the crops they could raise. And so the community gathered together and they prayed and they prayed and they prayed for rain. But did any rain come? It did not. And so the people didn't know what to do because everyone was so hot and so thirsty. So different people came up with different plans. One person said, we need to sing a song. And so they got the best singer in the whole city, Rabbi John. And they said, Rabbi John, sing a song. It'll make the rain happen. Usually my singing only brings tears. And so there I sang the reincarnated self from 2,000 years ago, I guess. Oh, please bring us rain, rain, rain. Oh, please, pretty please. Do you think any rain came? No, not with singing like that. Come on. And so then someone else said, okay, well, maybe if we do a dance. So they gathered a bunch of people together and they danced around. Oh, I want to say on camera. They danced around. Okay, I'm doing this perfectly, aren't I? All right. They danced. And they danced. Okay, I really like I could see that. And they danced around. Did that bring rain? No, it did not. So then one person baked a cake and said, well, maybe if we throw that cake high enough in the sky, it will please the heavens and rain will come. And so what happened? They take that cake, they threw it all the way up in the sky, and it came back down splat all over the cake baker's face. Nothing seemed to be working. And then an archer came along. An archer saw a cloud all the way over there. So the archer took his bow, and he pulled it back, and he shot his arrow, and it went through the cloud, and he started to pull on the string that was attached, and he pulled and he pulled and he pulled. But the cloud didn't follow along. It seems like that arrow could not stick in that cloud well enough. And so the people went back to their arguments. They didn't know what to do. And they were all gathered in the synagogue, and everyone was fighting. Let's try this, let's try that. Your idea is good, my idea is better. Your idea is just terrible. And there was a young boy named Honi. And Honi comes from our Talmud. And Honi said, I have a way to make the clouds come. And like, quiet, boy. They wouldn't listen to him because he was about this tall. And in those days, you didn't listen to little kids. And he kept saying, but I haven't. No, quiet, kid. And they kept just yelling at him to be quiet. So what did he do? He decided to do what a lot of other people did. He decided to take matters into his own hands. And he went outside and he started doing this. And the people heard it and they ran to the windows of the synagogue and they said, oh, rain, rain, it's come. But no, it was just Honi being silly because he was such a silly little boy. And they told him, stop that. And they went back to arguing. And their arguing increased in volume so greatly that they no longer heard him doing this. But he kept doing it, and he kept doing it. Then off in the distance, a cloud heard this. And the cloud thought, wow, that sounds like my cousin, Peter. I wonder how he's doing. And he started to float in that direction. And then another cloud over that way said, oh, that sounds like my cousin too, because all clouds are cousins. It's sort of like being Jewish. And suddenly there are all these clouds, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. It's not our cousin, it's a little boy waving a palm frond. But the little boy was so sweet. He's like, hey, guys. And the cloud's like, hey, what's going on? Could you use some rain? Well, haven't felt like doing that recently. Oh, come on, please, look at our crops. Well, okay. And then the rain began to fall. And it fell, and it fell, and it fell. And suddenly the people realized that noise was too great just to be little Honi. And so they went running outside. And then they actually did do a dance in the rain. Because finally their crops would be saved and they would no longer, be thirsty. All because one boy tried to communicate in a kind way in the voice, of the individual he needed to help, which was the clouds. Now the story of Honi, there are many, many stories about Honi. He was known as a man who could make rain. He was called Honi the Rainmaker, and he comes out in our Talmud. I have to admit, the story about his childhood is one that I just sort of made up. Because I was imagining one day, if you're a rainmaker, what was your childhood like? And when was the first time you needed to make rain? And my feeling was it was probably on a very hot, dry Sukkot. Because we see that Sukkot and rain are linked. In Israel, it's the beginning of the rainy season, and hopefully it's the beginning of the rainy season here. And starting on the last day of this holiday, we stop praying for dew and we begin praying for rain. And the Mishnah even teaches us we are judged regarding water on Sukkot. We are judged regarding water on Sukkot. That's a whole sermon in and of itself about the environment, which I'm not going to do tonight. And during the temple period, people are always shocked when I tell them that we had a temple, we had a whole water libation ceremony that has completely been forgotten about, but it's mentioned in our Talmud. So the idea of water and rainfall and the connection that people who grow crops to survive, as I spoke about before the Micha Mocha, is huge. And the idea that we need to have a special connection to the heavens, where rain comes from, has always been true for the Jews. And we can even see this in the 1900s when Jews were making aliyah to Israel in large numbers. And they were going to a dry, arid desert or to swampland and trying to find ways to make it give fruits and vegetables. So we're going to wave a lulav and etrog right now, because I'm going to say the blessing right now, and we're going to just do one official waving, and then you can do your own when you get into the sukkah. So I take the pitom and I put it in my left hand, I put the palm frond in my right, I put it together, and I go, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. Dear God, thank you for commanding us to take on the action of waving the lulav and etrog. And together we say, Amen. And then we take the etrog and we turn it in its growth direction. So if it's hanging like this would be the growth direction. And we wave it, I'm going to pretend like that's east right now. 3 times to the east, 3 times to the south, 3 times to the west, 3 times to the north, 3 times up in the sky, and we drop our elbows. We don't point the lulav down, we just drop our elbows, maybe our knees, 3 times. And then we take a breath of the etrog. And then if you're under the age of 10, we make you do a rain dance, and the kids do this. But you've heard me singing and dancing enough tonight. So my blessing for all of you tonight, always think about our connection to rainfall, to weather, to climate change. Let's think about how our ancestors needed water and rain, and how we can continue the cycle that is needed to keep our earth growing and thriving. And together we say, and now I think we have a lulav song that's more kiddie-oriented, and we have a lot of adults in here tonight, so you have to get into the spirit of it either way.
Sukkot is a harvest holiday. The celebration lasts for 7 days. We build our sukkah, then we decorate a special booth in which we congregate. Ready? Do the lulav shake, 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 shake. Do the lulav shake, 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 shake.
Everybody
do the
hands up.
lulav shake. Everyone.
Shake, shake,
Do the lulav shake.
Wait and talk.
The symbols of Sukkot are quite unique. They show God's presence are in every week. The etrog smell, it gets into the air. We wave the lulav everywhere. Ready, everyone? Do the lulav shake. Shake, shake, do the lulav shake, 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 do the lulav shake, 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 do the lulav shake. Chadas and Arava on either side surround the lulav that we shake with pride. To north, the south, the west, and to the east, we celebrate and then we feast like a Jews. Do the lulav shake, 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 shake. Do the lulav shake, 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 shake. Do the lulav shake, 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 shake. Do the lulav shake, 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 shake.
Some good lulav shakers out there. You still have to do it in the sukkah later, though. And now I'd like to ask Roland Minchell to come forward with some announcements. Roland.
Hello, hello, hello. Okay, Rabbi John, first of all, thank you for such a lovely evening thus far. And Cantor, it's so lovely and just such a fantastic job you did for the high holidays. It just was really, it was beautiful. And Joel on piano, I don't know if everybody's met Joel. He's the musical director. Really got that choir in such a beautiful sound. Thank you. And then also Dave, who does the sound, which really has improved greatly, as I hope you all can hear. Okay, so.
And Lisa
tomorrow-
Hanisch on cameras.
on
My wife on cameras.
Oh, really? Oh. And Lisa Hanisch. Everybody pitches in. It's a family affair. Tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. is the Tat Shabbat. So if you have your little one, bring your little one and enjoy it. It's going to be a fun service as always. And then following the Tat Shabbat, there will be a Yiska service. It'll be at 12 p.m. and then followed by a light little nosh. Hey, does anybody know what's in 7 days? Thank you. I'm glad you know. It is. I knew there's a reason why I'm here. It's Simchat Torah. It is a lovely celebration. I don't know if you know, but we go in the other room, we unwrap the Torah, and we all stand in a circle, and I don't know when the last time anybody's done that. And if there hasn't been a first time, it really should be, something that you experience. Okay, that's my personal 2 cents. And then this Thursday on Zoom is our monthly Timely Topics. This month's conversation will be around special needs trusts, which personally I will tell you that is a very important topic to know if that's something you should know. So it's on special needs trusts. Join Michael Wolf from Jewish Los Angeles as she talks more about planning ahead for your special needs child, teen, and adult, which again I will say is critical. Our tzedakah this evening is going to the much-needed Hurricane Ian Relief Fund through the Miami Jewish Federation. There is a QR code right in your Shalom sheet if you would like to give. And then I'm going to do a shameless plug. In case you don't know, I am the Cantorial Music Trustee on the board. I don't really know what that title means, but I do have your musical interest at heart and just trying to build such a great music culture along with Joel and with Cantor. That being said, we're doing a variety show. Yeah, we are. Calling it a Variety Spotlight. Here's the thing. If you could have a cool science experiment. Just bring whatever you want. The only thing that we're going to ask is that you come and you present it. There's no auditioning. There's no just if there's something you haven't shown, show it. If there's something you haven't shown in a long time, show it. But definitely come and be a part of that. It's going to be fun, or at the very least, come as an audience member. So, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, and I give you the second act of the service.
Thank you very much, Roland. I want to point out that Simchat Torah is next Friday night. It is one of the funnest nights here. Everyone who shows up says, wow, I've never danced with the Torah and then unscrolled it before. I'm coming back every year, and yet we never seem to get this giant crowd that I would love to have join us. So please, everyone should come to Simchat Torah. It is so much fun, all right? And if you haven't participated in the past, you'll soon figure out it's just a crazy, crowded mess. So now we turn to page, and Joel's putting together a 4-piece klezmer band for the event, and Cantor will be singing a lot, and I won't be talking a lot, so it's even better. So we now turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On our recently departed list, Renee Winehouse, buried last Friday, remembered by the Stein and Winehouse families. Marisa Dupuis, buried a week ago Monday, remembered by the Dupuis and Rubin families. Jeffrey Gordon, remembered by the Gordon, Hanish, and Banner families. And we also hold in our prayers those taken by gun violence that occurs on an all too frequent basis. I believe just yesterday there was another shooting. Those who have died of COVID. Those who have passed in floods and fires and other natural and unnatural disasters. And those killed in regional conflicts. We also think about those who died during this season in years past, but whose memories still live in our hearts. Evelyn Ames Blockman, James Benefeld, Priscilla Jean Burke, Annette Beitch, Ethel Brenner, Alfred Billy Cole, Harriet Coleman, Milton Frankel, Samuel Greenberg, Sarah Hirschberg, Sheila Howard, Francis Licker, Edith Licker, Dr. Saul Landy, Margaret A. Marks, Sam Rubin, Gerald Hugh Smith, Edith Strauss, and Sam Weintraub. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish or Yortzeit list, please share it with me now. If you're in the first 7 days of morning Shiva, please rise. If you're observing Shloshim, please rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, please rise. If you're observing a Yortzeit, please rise. These are the mourners in our midst. We rise to show them our support and our love. We are on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlech malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav yizman kari v'imru. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarak leolam u'lamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei d'kudsha b'rechu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, chushbachata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, put down your books, put your arms around one another. We're going to be singing Oseh Shalom right now.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
I get you guys out to dinner, so I'm going to hold the Kiddush cup tonight. Let's all hold our imaginary Kiddush cups up in the sky. Short Kiddush right now.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
And now for challah. Let's all point at these beautiful chalot and go yummy, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum.
Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
If you'd like to get some challah, come up front. If you want to go get dinner, go in the back, and we'll have lulavs and etrogs for everyone to wave. You got that? Oh, take these with you. Wayne. Take these with you.
And where am I putting that?
Just let people touch them. In the sukkah, yeah. People want to touch them. And yeah, don't take that one. So what happens when you have kids? The challah goes immediately. Yeah. They're like,
Plus.